Hello again! Now let's continue with the preprocessing in the Qgis processing modeler with the texture indicator. In this case, as previously studied, we will use the layer with the Silt and Clay information, set the threshold and multiply by the corresponding weight. The process will be performed both at subsoil and topsoil level. Let's get to work. Well, we already have 3 layers processed, and now we are going for the 4th and last one, which is the texture layer. As you know, this layer is related to 2 types of soil, which are clay and silt. As always, the first step to start is to load the layers as we have done before. To work with this layer, we will use the Qgis processing modeler, which is a tool similar to the ArcGIS model builder tool, allowing us to create complete models with a graphical interface with simple and easy to use. The model builder's operation is based on the sequence of analytic operations that leads to a result and whose complexity usually involves the generation of a previous scheme that indicate the data flow. What are the input data? What are the operations involved? What are the output data? And how do your output of an operation will become the input of another operation? Okay, to use the modeler, we go to the processing toolbox, and in the upper part there are some red and gray gears. If we press it, it will give us the option to create a new model, to open an existing one, or add model to toolbox. We are going to create our first model. The modeler presents an interface showing the structure of the model and the workflow it represents. On the left side, there is a panel with 2 tabs used to add new elements to the model. The creation of a model consists on 2 fundamental steps. First, the definition of the necessary input. In our case, we need the silt, topsoil and subsoil, and clay, topsoil and subsoil rasters, and the ROI polygon. And we need to define the workflow that we are going to use to obtain our result. The first step in the modeler is to name it. For example, we can put texture, and the group is the soft exercise. Okay. In inputs, we are going to double click on the vector layer parameters, and with it we are going to add the ROI. Vector layer parameters names is ROI, geometry is polygon type, and this is mandatory. Okay. Then we are going to double click on the raster layer, and in this case we are going to put for example clay, the topsoil, okay, perfect. We will start with the calculation the topsoil layers, and then we will repeat the process for the subsoil layers. To do this, in the algorithms tabs here, look for the Raster Calculator. To do this, in the search we put Raster Calculator. We have here. Perfect. The first thing is to describe the tool. In this case, we put texture, top texture. Okay. And we need to do the expression. In this case, we choose the silt top plus 2 times clay top. This is the same equation that we see in the theoric videos. Okay, in this case we haven't got reference layers, but we are going to change the cell size. We are going to define the extent like the extent of the ROI, and we are going to put the coordinate output. And finally, we put a name, for example, texture top, the topsoil, and press OK. If we press double click, we see that we forgot to put the reference layers. In this case, the reference layer is silt top and clay top. And in this case, we press the three dots and put silt top and clay top and press OK and press OK. And in this case, you can see that everything is connected. Okay, when the tool is closed, a green square like this appears. If we press double click with in the three dots, we can define the name, that is the same that we put here, and we can put the path. And I think this is important to define. In this case, remember the structure of our folders, and here in texture, and the first one is texture top. Okay, we press save and OK. The next step is to reclassify the texture raster obtained in the previous step, and to do this, in the algorithm tabs, we are going to look for the reclassify by table. Do you remember that we use these algorithms in others steps, previous steps? Okay, here we can hide the advanced parameters, and we choose the raster layer. The raster layer is the output of this tool. In this case, we select here output from texture top. Perfect. The band number is automatically, and then we do the table. Here you need to add the number of rows that you need, in this case 5, and here you put the different values. For example, from 0 to 30, we have value 0. 30.0001 to 53.3, we have value 10, or this is the same that high productivity. From 53.3001 to 76.7000, this is we will assign value 5, that is its low productivity, and for 66.001 to 100, we will assign 1. This is it means unstable land, and more than 10, it's going to be more than 100.001 to the maximum is going to be 0, as in the MaiL project. Okay, when we finish our table, we press OK, and then we choose the difference, or we change the difference value if we need. In this case, we are going to keep as default. we only put the name of the raster, in this case is texture, top, and reclass. And the parent algorithms, in this case, we need to choose the previous one, that is texture top, and we press OK. OK, everything is connected. This is a very good thing. And here we change, in the green square, we change the path. In this case, we are going to put, you can copy this one and you can put in the path the same name. Perfect. And press OK. Then now we are going to look for the Raster Calculator algorithms again, with which we are going to multiply the reclassified raster by the corresponding weight. In this case, we put another time Raster Calculator. We change the name. In this case is texture top weight. And here we choose the output from the previous step, that it is the reclassified raster, and we are going to multiply by 0.045, which is the weight in the MaiL project you have in the presentation. Okay, in this case we will indicate another time the cell size. We can put the output stance. We can choose the output projection. It's necessary to put a name. In this case, texture, the same than here. You can choose, because this is the description of the tool, and here is the name of the output. And then it's necessary to put that here the reference layer is the reclassified raster. Okay, we press OK. We can put maybe here, it's easy to see, and press in the green square, in the three dots, and we change the path. It's easier if you copy this name and put in the name square. Save and OK. Perfect. Now we will repeat the same for the subsoil. Once we have the model created, we press this button at the top, the gray button. It has, in this case, another window. It's display in which we must select the input raster. For example, clay sub is clay S, clay top is clay T. The ROI is correct because we only have one vector. The silt sub is this one, and the silt topsoil is the one. Be careful with this, because this is very important to have a good result. And in this case we forgot to put this path, and we can put here save to file, and in this case is texture sub wait, save, and we press. At the end we have obtained 6 layers, 4 of them intermediate. For example, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And in the future works, these intermediate layers can be saved in the memory so as not to generate intermediate rasters. In this case, we are going to keep out. Okay. Goodbye. And then here you can change the symbology of this raster. You have in the models folder this style layer that you can use, and you can see the different values of this raster and the different, and at finally you can see the result. In summary, we have 6 raster in this case, representing 4 marginality indicators, 2 of them in the topsoil and subsoil strata. These indicators are divided in 4 classes: non-marginal, potential unsustainable land, low potential land, and high potential land for plantation. In the next section, we will combine this layer with the hard layers in Google Earth Engine. I hope you like the exercise, and if you have any question, please write to me at the email that appears in the presentation. See you in the next video.